Well, hello, everybody. Welcome again to Frequently Asked Question Friday. I'm here again with Attorney Stephen Stratso. How's it going? I think you were on, what 3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
a month ago or so?
a few weeks ago.
Okay. Anyway, our question today is, if the person who hit me doesn't have insurance, what are my options? So, Stephen, you want to take
It's a
that?
situation we come across all the time. We've got potential clients come into the office, and unfortunately, the person that hit them has no insurance coverage. There's a few things that you can do. One is you can go after that individual personally. You can sue them, but the best case scenario is you have what's called uninsured motorist coverage. Now, this is you pay for it each month along with your own insurance premium. It's a part of your insurance. It costs extra. You pay for it each month for this specific situation. If somebody hits you, doesn't have insurance, you can use the uninsured motorist portion of your insurance coverage.
What about, suppose they don't have UM?
If they don't have UM, you could potentially go after the other person and sue them. The problem with that is, with how the laws are written here in Texas, individuals are kind of judgment proof, meaning they don't really have assets that you can go after. So if they don't have any, there's possibly personal injury protection that they may have, but other than that, there's really no real recourse to collect.
And I think we've discussed personal injury protection, but you want to just tell us what that is real quick?
Personal injury protection is kind of a no-fault protection. It involves, if you have medical bills related to the accident, lost wage claims you can also make. We do encourage everyone to have at least $10,000 in personal injury protection added to their policy if they don't already have it.
And that's no fault insurance?
Correct.
What about med pay? Some people don't have PIP, but they have med pay.
We see that. It's not quite as common as personal injury protection. Problem with med pay is sometimes you have to subrogate with the adverse insurance carrier for med pay. You have to kind of pay it back if there is any coverage there. But we do encourage PIP over med pay, I would say.
And what about if you have health insurance?
Your health insurance that's always an option. If you go to the hospital or something, you can always use your own private health insurance to pay for that. So that is always an option. But as far as getting pain and suffering, you're not going to get that from your own private health insurance coverage.
It'll just cover your bills,
Exactly.
Maybe. They'll probably fight you on that.
Yeah, exactly.
What about, I know there's something called like a victims assistance fund.
If maybe a drunk driver or something like that, you can get it through the criminal system. Is that what you're referring to? You see that a lot with drunk drivers, and they've got $200,000 in hospital bills, something like that. Sometimes they've got some programs set up through the county to assist with paying these large bills that these people aren't going to be able to pay any other way. So I do see that from time to time with the DA's office.
Does that mainly apply just to like criminal type cases like drunk driver?
That's where I see it the most. I have to say.
Let's talk just a second about suing the individual, because I know lots of people think that when we file a lawsuit that's what we're doing. We're suing the individual person. Is that actually what we're doing when we file a lawsuit?
Well, when we file a lawsuit, we do name the adverse driver in the petition. However, it's their insurance that actually kicks in and that pays for to defend them. They're the ones that end up paying if there is a settlement. So while you are suing that individual, it's not really them that's having to fork over the money for it.
What are the you say? Well, what are the chances of recovering from an individual? Let's say somebody watching here today runs into somebody, what's the odds of them getting sued without insurance, let's say, and somebody recovering from them, or them recovering from somebody else that runs into it?
It's pretty slim. Again, with the homestead laws here in Texas, it's not something. Excuse me. It's just something that you don't see very often, and that's because most people don't have assets. Most people don't have $1 million that you can go after, and if they do, those people usually have insurance. So.
Do you have to have $1 million to be judgment proof?
You got to have a lot. You can't just be middle income person. Just Joe Smith out on the street. It's probably not someone that you're going to be able to go after as far as recovery.
Like what else covered under that homestead law? Like what property of mine that say would be covered under?
It would be your house. I believe it involves your vehicles, and then I forget the limit the limit you'd have in the bank, but it's usually higher than most people even have. So
I know it used to be like $30,000 of personal property.
I think that's it. I do. I think that's it. I don't know if it's gone up.
And then in addition, you got work tools and things that were excluded and that nobody could judgment creditor could get, and you got some chickens and some pigs and some goats.
They really made it difficult. Yeah, they really made it difficult to go after anyone.
I remember my Texas history. They said that's why Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and some of those guys moved here, because it was a debtor state, and those guys were kind of running from the creditors in Tennessee and elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, it's a good state for it. That's for sure.
All right. Okay. Well, we're going to cut a little bit short today because I want to make a couple of announcements. Just a reminder, tomorrow is the election for Senate or Congressional District 27, which is the district that Blake Farenthold abdicated and quit office over. So we have nobody representing us right now. So don't get that confused with the election in November, which will be for the following 2 years, starting in January. This is an election tomorrow to fill up Blake's seat between now and January of next year. So we'll have a representative for the next, whatever that is, 8 months or so. I believe the courthouse is closed tomorrow, so you can't go vote there. But I see you can vote at the Deaf and Hard of Hearing Center on McCardle Road, 5151 McCardle, Del Mar College at 101 Baldwin Avenue, Fire Station 7, 9, 11, and 12, which are on Staples, Navigation, Airline, and Rand Morgan, and in Port Aransas at the City Hall. And I believe we're going to have a link, Chris. We will have a link we'll put up that will give you all the voting places. Again, I think this is an extremely important election. We need to get more Democrats in there. Nobody on the Republican side seems to be doing their constitutional duty of being a check to Donald Trump. And he's becoming more and more like a dictator every day, just doing what he wants. And the Republicans have no spine. If they ran in a primary, and apparently if you run in a primary and you don't support Trump 100%, you get primaried out and you don't even get up for election in November. So all the Republicans are running scared, and all they care about is getting reelected, even though, it's not good for the United States. They would rather keep their job and destroy democracy and have a dictatorship, so they get to keep their job. That's not what the framers of the Constitution envisioned. They envisioned Congress would be a check on the president, and they are not doing that. In addition, Justice Kennedy announced yesterday he's retiring from the Supreme Court, and he was kind of the moderate. Most decisions anymore in Supreme Court are 5-4, and Justice Kennedy was the swing vote. Sometimes he'd vote with the more liberal judges, sometimes he'd vote with more conservative judges, but he was kind of a swing vote that would keep most crazy stuff from happening.
But with him gone, Trump's going to get another appointment, kind of like this Neil Gorsuch, and you can see what he does. You know, whatever Trump wants, he rubber stamps. And so this is how dictatorships are formed. You get the courts on your side, you get the legislative branch afraid to stand up to you, and suddenly you can do whatever you want. And that, you know, appears to be happening. At the same time, of course, Trump is undermining any faith people have in the special prosecutor, the Mueller investigation. He obviously was helped out by Putin and the Russians in the election. Why else would he not impose sanctions on Russia, even though Congress told him to? Why else does he never criticize Putin, even though he criticizes everybody else on earth? But he won't criticize Putin. And he won't even ask the CIA, the NSA, or the FBI to look into Russia's the allegations that Russia not only tampered with our last election, but they're doing it again for the 2018 election. He has not even directed them to try to prevent it. So that should tell you something. Most of you are probably too young to remember the early part of the 20th century, where we had 2 world wars, and they were fought because of right-wing dictators taking over in Europe and Asia. And, you know, people have short memories and they forget, but it can happen again. So I think it's very, very important you go out and vote tomorrow. There's also a march tomorrow. It's called Families Belong Together, and this is to protest Donald Trump separating children from their families at our border, and accusing all these refugees of being criminals, trying to put them all in jail, and sending the kids to other families, and they either deport the parents or they lock them up in jails and separating families. So there is a big march tomorrow in Washington, D.C. and a bunch of cities around the United States. Ours is at Cole Park tomorrow at 11:30. So if you can make it out to the Families Belong Together march, that would be great. We also have our scholarship. I wanted to remind you all again. I believe you go to hermanherrman.com/scholarship, /scholarship. First place is $2,500. Go to help you in school. Second place, $1,500. Third place is $1,000. So if you know anybody, any students, high school or college, that need some money for school, which in my experience is pretty much every student I've ever met, tell them that's a good place to go look and get some free money. We people from California and New York and the East Coast and West Coast keep winning this thing. We would like some Texas winners, and it'd be great to have some South Texas winners. So go to our scholarship page and you can read the rules. Also, a reminder, our Fiesta Texas Summer Giveaway, the winner's going to be selected on July 12th. So go to Facebook for instructions on how to win that. And finally, I want to announce that Herrman Herrman is going to start taking gadolinium cases. Gadolinium is a contrast agent that they use when you get an MRI. And some people may have had a gadolinium case in the past. Those cases were for kidney damage. But it turns out they're finding out that gadolinium, which is a rare earth, they thought would pass through your body just, when you urinate, and it'd be out of your body in a month, 2 months, 6 months. It turns out it's not doing that. It's staying in your body. It's going to your brain, it's going into your bones, and it's going into your skin. And people are having all kinds of problems, cognitive issues because of gadolinium, having skin problems and lots of bone problems. We don't have the full list of everything it does to you, but if you've ever had a gadolinium case before, That's what we're calling gadolinium 1. This is gadolinium 2, so you still have a case because this stuff apparently stays in your body forever, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems. So if you've had a gadolinium case to begin with because of kidney issues, you've now got another case. So you can come in and talk to us about that. Or if you've known anybody that has an MRI or has gotten an MRI that they used a contrast agent for. Not, most MRIs, they just put you in the magnet and they just take pictures. But a contrast agent is where they inject you with this contrast agent. It's like they call it like a radioactive dye, and that's supposed to go to, like, let's say they're looking for a fracture. That dye will go and show on your bones where that fracture is. It'll go and show up in joints and ligaments and things. So that's the agent that is causing all the problems. So anyway, we're taking gadolinium cases. So I just wanted to get that out to everybody. And I think that's it. Stephen, you got anything you want to add?
I think that's it. Just get out and vote, and we'll see you at Cole Park tomorrow.
Well, all right. Thank you, everybody, again, and we will see you next Friday. Same time, same channel.